Today I am sharing day 8 and 9 with you guys. These pages today are very simple. I wasn't really in the mood to do anything too crazy today, so I kept these 2 pages very simple. I decided to type out my journaling on my typewriter, and I typed them out in strips. I think this might be one of the first times I've done the strips. I can't quite remember, but I really thought it would work well on this layout, and I just wanted to do something that was different. So I just cut this strip, and then I use that really thin 3M tape that I have there on the right hand side to glue down my journaling. And I got really lucky. I found a bunch of rolls of this at the Goodwill when I was there, I don't know, several months ago, and it's perfect for these journaling strips. Sometimes it's really a pain in the butt to add like liquid glue or like your dot liner to it, so I recommend this really thin two-sided adhesive for this kind of activity, or this kind of a gluing project, I guess. Now I've glued all my journaling down on the pictures, I am working on this tag. This tag is going to slip behind the top photo there. So you can see I just trimmed out a tag shape using some white cardstock that I had, and I'm just adding these hole reinforcers. I just thought it would give a nice decoration to the top of the page, just so it wasn't so boring. And then I'm going to glue all these little strips down. I won't have you guys watch all that, but that's what I'm going to end up doing. But I did think this tag still looked a little plain, so I'm going to use my scallop punch here and add a little border to the top and bottom of the tag, and that's just going to give it some extra decoration. So I'm just taking this little strip that I had in my scrap, and I'm punching out both sides of the strip, and then I'm going to cut this down the middle so I can use it in multiple places. And this strip is super tiny, so it's a little hard to cut, so I'm kind of finagling with this a bit. All right, and then it didn't cut exactly in the middle, but that's okay. So I'm going to use this piece here for the bottom, and then I am going to also use it on the top. And I just cut the piece, or leave the piece longer and then cut it off. It just works easier than trying to trim it to size and then gluing it down. This way I can make sure that it's going to fit across the bottom. Now I had this little scrap left over, so I decided that I would add a little topper to this. So I'm just taking off that hole reinforcer, adding some glue to the top, and then I will put that hole reinforcer back on the page. Now this doesn't go across the top quite as nicely as I would like, but it was a scrap, and instead of not using it, I figured I would just make it work. I would have liked it to go all the way across. It kind of cuts off on the corners a bit, but it's okay. So now I'm just going to add that hole reinforcer back on, and I think it just gives a little extra something to this tag. So here's where I'm going to add the journaling. I'm just going to cut these strips so that they all fit, and then I will glue them down with that little adhesive. So here are some vintage pieces that I had in my stash. I'm just going to glue these down. I did stitch around them just to give them some extra texture. So that's a little gift tag, and then a little piece of scrap paper that I just did some zigzag stitch on, and then I have this little holly sticker that's not very sticky anymore, so I'm just adding a little extra adhesive. And then I'm going to add a little journaling sort of on that little gift tag. And oh, I'm showing you my little my little owl that I just got. My husband gave that to me for Christmas, and he's adorable, and he holds my little tea diffuser thing, and I just had to share that with you because it was adorable. I love it. Every time I use it, it makes me happy. So I just add a little bit of string. This is some string that I got from Michael's quite some time ago, and now I'm adding some stitching around just with a pen. I didn't want to stitch through this tag, so I just decided to do this faux stitching with a black pen here. And then I'm going to add some journaling on that gift tag. I'm just going to say to Hope from Love. I just thought it seemed like it went well with this. I don't know, it just worked for me. So I'm just making this a little fancier, adding a little drop shadow, or whatever you call that. Looks kind of like calligraphy. I cannot do calligraphy, but I can do faux calligraphy okay. So I just added that on. It is kind of wet. I think I blotted off with some paper just to make sure it doesn't get on everything. I don't think I show that on camera. And now I'm just going to glue this down. I always add extra adhesive to my chipboard pieces because they don't like to stick. And then I'm just going to trim off that one corner point of the star. And I like how that lays on the number 8 card. I had some extra of this left over that I punched earlier, so I'm just going to add some adhesive to the top of this card. Just bring some of that red color that I've used in the layout throughout the page. And I'm just going to add that on top. And I think that adds a little extra fun to that card. Again, keeping it simple but still wanting to do a little decoration. I had a little adhesive showing through, so I just used my powder tool. And that's the little tag. Just kind of showing you some close-ups of these cards. So that is day 8. I'll be moving on to day 9. So this is day 9. Again, another super simple layout, just using some stamps from Ellie Edwards. This is an old stamp set that I got probably in a December daily way back. I don't know if it was 2018 or 2019, but I'm just using this one longer stamp and I'm going to actually cut it in half. So it says bring on the magic, bring on the joy. I'm going to be using the bring on the joy portion of the stamp. At first I thought I was going to trim it out and then use half of it on the top and half of it on the bottom of that top right 3x4 card, but I decided that just wasn't working for me. So you'll see kind of how I do that here in a couple minutes. So like I said, it just wasn't working for me like that. So I had this little wood veneer star and this love. That love is a stamp set with a matching die that I had embossed and then embossed and then die cut, and those have been in my stash for a while. I made several of them one year for December daily, and I had this one left over, so I decided to use it on this card. I added the 9, like you can see there, to the star. That is just a sticker sheet from Ellie Edwards. And I think I like this a lot better where it says bring on the joy and I add the strip there. I think it balances better. The other way, it just seemed like it was too much going on. So I'm going to end up sticking that down there. And that's pretty much how that 9 card looks. This one page is even more simple than the previous page. Just gluing that down. Now that wood veneer has some really sticky adhesive, so I didn't feel like I needed to add any adhesive additional to that. Now I'm going to pull out the stamp set again. I'm going to add one more stamp set. I decided to add that love instead of over there on the 9 card. I'm adding it to the card of me and my dog. And I felt like it was kind of getting lost because the black and white and the gold, it just didn't seem to pop too much. So I decided to take this peace and joy stamp, cut it out, and then layer that with the love. I think that kind of just separates everything a bit more and you can see the love a bit more. And I like how that looks on the black and white photo. So I'm just kind of finagling with that. I like how everything is kind of nestling together. So I'm going to glue that down using my dry adhesive for the peace and joy, and then because this word is so thin, I'm just using my fine liner bottle and some liquid glue to get the glue on the back of this love die cut. And of course my handy dandy tweezers. I can't live without those. And now I decided to do something different on this card. I'm going to take these little circles that I stamped using an Ellie Edwards stamp and I embossed them in gold. And again, these are something I've had in my stash where I made a bunch of them one year just so I had them. I'm going to add them here to the right hand side like you see, glue them down, and then I'm going to stitch along the edge and then I'm going to trim them out. I didn't feel like this card or photo needed a lot, but I wanted to do something on it. I didn't want to leave it plain, so I thought this was a good alternative to just leaving it blank. So I am just trimming off the edge of those, and I really like how this turned out. This is something different I've never done before, and I do like how that looks. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed your holidays, and I will be back soon with a few more days of my December daily. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.